bell tolls. The midnight hour is upon us. It's time once again for two internet strangers to discuss the good and evil of the horror genre. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the terror within the Hallow-Holics Anonymous podcast.
Corey, we just got back into reality from that interdimensional rift through a series of wild and crazy events we don't have time to explain, and you're already making a mess.
Can't help it, I'm melting.
Then stop drinking that Satanist goo.
Are you crazy? Do you know how hard this is to find?
We need to get through this recording before you turn into a puddle of multicolored slime.
Sounds good to me. Sorry, that one was my bad. I'll get you another coffee.
Hi, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Corey.
And this is Hallow-Holics Anonymous,
a show dedicated to all things horror and occasionally Halloween.
Oh my gosh, we've finally gotten our asses into gear. If we were any flakier, we would be dandruff.
I don't even blame flakiness on this. I blame,
global pandemic,
our schedules, mostly our schedules.
Mass unemployment.
Yeah. If anything, I think the pandemic should have made us record more, but because my job switched for the time being, things got funny.
Well, and for me, people have been buying so much booze that I can routinely expect a 50-hour-a-week schedule, which isn't a bad thing, but I am tired.
Yeah, I can completely relate to, well, not to the alcohol part, but to the 50-hour-a-week part.
Yeah, so since our lives are falling apart, why not talk about movies in which people fall apart via slime? Yes, literally. Melt movies. That's a really weird subgenre of horror, isn't it?
It is, and I didn't even realize it existed until you said it.
Oh, yeah.
And I still don't think it does exist. I think you made it up.
Well, technically, The Blob is a melt movie. Any movie in which people melt, like Society is a melt movie. There's also The Incredible Melting Man. I say the rule of a horror subgenre should be if there's at least 3 of them, it's a subgenre.
What about The Stuff?
I'd say it's more of a possession film.
Maybe.
Yeah, possession or evil foodstuffs.
Oh, yeah, I guess that one scene at the end isn't the guy melting. It's just him puking up lots of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did that movie make you want to eat it, though?
You know, it looked so good.
Yeah, I really wanted to eat the stuff.
Well, one lick isn't enough.
Can't get enough of the stuff.
Joe Bob Briggs hates that movie.
Oh, that's very disappointing.
Well, yeah, but, he gave some good points, but I still love it.
I feel like I watched that movie when I was 8.
The marketing in it is so effective. Yeah, that's too young. If someone released a special Blu-ray edition right now, at Lunchbox or Hot Topic, they would have to release it with a thing of frozen yogurt or marshmallow fluff in a jar called The Stuff with the movie.
Oh, for sure. Like
how they do the cereal with the Funko Pops.
I think it would have to be marshmallow fluff, though. I'm not sure that frozen yogurt would last very long.
Probably not, unless they had a special, the Stuff-themed cooler for a short release. You know how much money nerds will spend.
Oh, good point. I missed the fact that you said, you didn't say cooler, you said lunchbox, so I'm not completely stupid.
So we tried to do a recording at one point where we were catching up with a lot of your horror packs, but there's no way I'm going back and editing that. So let's just talk about your latest horror pack.
Okay, you just want to do the latest? Because I've got 2. I'd prefer to only do 1, though.
Yeah,
honestly.
Let's just do the latest.
Well, actually, you know what we could do? Let me see if there's anything interesting, even if this is the... Oh, God. Everything is terrible.
Everything is terrible. That is the motto of 2020.
I still have the pile of stuff from the last time we did it, and that noise was half of it falling over.
Well, what is a horror pack discussion without your sweet, sweet ASMR?
True. All right, so real quick, I think this is I'll just read the titles of the one before the most recent.
Okay, real quick, actually, can I hear your fingers on the plastic? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you just disgusted me. Well, you just made me disgust myself, I should say.
Which is weird, considering the movies we just watched are pretty disgusting.
Mm-hmm. All right, I put these in order of what I think I'll like. So the first one, it's the Horror Pack Limited Edition Blu-ray, Bong of the Living Dead. I'm sure it's crap.
Is that related to Killer Bong?
I don't think so.
That means it's a subgenre. Evil pot equipment. I don't know. What would you call it?
That probably is a subgenre now.
There's quite a few of them.
Probably stoner horror would be what that would. I mean, it's not a fun name, but...
Well, at least you can, put idle hands in that category if that's the case.
That's true. Yeah, there are a few good ones in there. All right, next up is Blood-Sucking Bastards. It looks like there's a dude in a nice suit with coffee and blood all over it. I assume it's corporate horror.
That one is a vampire movie. I was so excited for the release of that movie because it got stalled twice, and I was really disappointed once I watched it. And it had some actors I really love in it, and had some good humor, but it was just too long.
Yeah, I don't know. Speaking of vampire movies, we have a segment to do after these movies. I forgot. It's called "What Crappy Stuff Has Corey Been Watching During the Disease Times?"
None of it was Horror Pack.
No, none of it was Horror Pack because that would make sense instead of me buying DVDs and leaving them in the plastic, which is what I do with Horror Pack. I think I watched 5 of them.
At least you have a good collection now.
I don't even know. I have a lot. All right, next up is The Forest. I don't know. Looks like it might be okay.
I'm not sure I've seen that one. That's a really generic title.
Yeah. Chick looking for her missing sister. It's a scary supernatural thriller. The chick from Game of Thrones and the Hunger Games was in it. Natalie Dormer. Yeah, maybe I'll watch it someday. And finally, I'm happy about this. The Exorcist 3.
Oh.
I love The Exorcist.
Wait, isn't that the terrible one?
No, 2's the terrible one.
Oh, okay.
3's the really good one with Brad Dourif.
Oh, I love Brad Dourif.
And the creepy lady climbing on the ceiling and the scissor guy.
Oh, okay.
Dude, if it's been a minute since you've seen Exorcist 3, you should give it a watch again. It's really good.
I should probably just give them all a watch again.
Except 2. Skip 2. Seriously, skip 2.
Pazuzu!
That's literally a line. It's Pazuzu. It's awful. I hate that movie so much. Let me put these in order. That goes there. Yeah, okay. All right, now this is the most recent one. I actually think I'm getting another one this week, too. I think it's shipped. All right, first up is, the last one was Office Space meets Vampires. This is Office Space meets Battle Royale, the Bellco Experiment.
Oh, that sounds really familiar. I think I've seen that on Netflix. I've seen the title multiple times.
Which kind of sucks because, oh God, everything's falling. Horror Pack was and I know this is hard to do, but they're we're going to try our best. If you subscribe to this, we're going to make sure we don't give you movies that aren't streaming everywhere all the time. And they've started to give a lot more movies that have been streaming. But again, I get it.
It's hard to fight that. A lot of movies are streaming now.
Yeah. And I don't care. It's worth it to me. It's worth the $20 a month just to have all these movies I never watch, but talk about for 2 minutes every month. When I say it that way, it doesn't sound worth it, but I'm still going to do it. All right, so Bellco Experiment. Do you want to know what it's about? Or
go ahead.
Welcome to Bellco Industries, a normally calm workplace that's about to devolve into a blood-soaked battle royale and a shocking case study of bone-crunching horror when 80 American employees are suddenly locked in their office building in Bogota, Colombia. Bogota. Oh, God, I'm stupid. A mysterious voice on the intercom orders them to participate in a ruthless game of kill or be killed. As the terror escalates, so does the body count. Now everyone is a competitor, and everyday objects become deadly weapons. Let the corporate carnage commence. This could either be dope or awful. Is that Michael Rooker?
This sounds like another movie I watched.
Yeah, dude, Michael Rooker's in this. I'm definitely down with this. Because Michael Rooker makes everything better. All right, next in the list of movies I will never even open. The Horror Pack Limited Edition Blu-ray of Cruel Will. It's got an okay cast of people whose names I don't remember. And they're not written on the back.
Well, you make it sound very compelling.
I know. Tragedy strikes married couple, Lily and Paul, when her father dies. I have a feeling that's not the whole tragedy, though. Lily brings home the urn, housing her father's cremated remains, forcing Paul to, on a daily basis, face his despised father-in-law. It's just his ashes, bruh. Soon after, the lid to the urn mysteriously disappears and Paul begins to experience unearthly events which, like a twisted joke, only he can see.
I would rather watch a movie about like the lid of the father-in-law's urn goes missing while the wife is out of town, and it's just this disaster adventure of him trying to find the lid.
It's like Weekend at Bernie's type comedy with like trying to find, or no, it would be, yeah, that would be hilarious. All right. So next is who's the dude who plays, Vision in the Marvel movies?
Dude, you are asking the absolute last person in the universe who would even know.
Hold on, Paul Bettany. That's right, Paul Bettany. So this is a Paul Bettany double feature, but it's none of Paul Bettany's good movies. It's Priest and Legion, which are both movies.
Oh God, both of those are horrible.
Yeah, oddly enough, I like them both.
Legion is offensive and Priest is stupid, but Brad Dourif is great in that one.
Why do you find Legion offensive?
The whole weird twisting of the religious idea.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of weird, the whole angel apocalypse thing. Did you watch the sci-fi series? I have a feeling that would offend you even more, because I think there are like angel orgies and stuff in that.
No. Let me correct myself. It's offensive, but I wasn't offended because I can handle anything. I just watched Street Trash and Slime City in a double feature.
Good point.
But it is offensive, and no, I haven't watched the series.
Okay. See, I dug on Legion and Priest each for one thing. The one thing in Legion was, dude, angels with machine guns. That's dope. All right. And 2 for Priest, dude, post-apocalyptic cowboys in a vampire apocalypse. That's dope.
I'm just going to say Brad Dourif.
Is he in either of those?
He was in Priest. He was the guy who got turned into a monster when they were done with him or something.
Oh, okay.
I just remember Brad Dourif. Yeah.
And the comic book was really good. The Priest comic was really good. Okay, and finally, you guys don't need to hear the back of this because you haven't seen it. I don't know why you're listening to us, but it's Insidious.
Okay, Insidious. Oh,
which I love.
Insidious.
Insidious actually made me uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy about that. So that is Horror Pack.
All right. Well, it wasn't
the last 2 months.
Absolutely terrible little collection there.
No, again, it's, I guess, I don't even know why I bother saying I'm going to keep it another month now, because it's obvious that I'm just going to keep eating $20 and getting them because I haven't stopped yet, even though I don't watch any of the movies. I need to find a day where I can sit down and just separate them into like, will watch, might watch, won't watch piles. Mm-hmm. And just go through it. You know what I mean? And just like watch it.
But first you need to find all the Bill Sadler movies and put them on the definitely watch first pile.
Oh, of course. I'm sure there are a bunch of Bill Sadler movies in there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Brad Dourif.
Right. All right. So I have a new segment for us today.
Oh boy.
It's called What Has Corey Been Watching? And it's all been bad.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Yes. I don't know if you're prepared for this. I don't think you're going to like me anymore when I tell you some of this, but I've been interested like, I'm not really a vampire guy. Like, vampires are your thing. You know what I mean? Like, I love Near Dark. I love Lost Boys, but I don't really care about vampires. For some reason, I have gone vampire crazy, and not good vampire crazy either.
Oh, you didn't watch Vampire Dentist, did you?
I did not, but I watched every Twilight movie.
Oh, I do hate you.
Yeah.
I hate you.
I think I did it in like days. I don't even think it took me weeks or months.
Corey,
it's that whole thing where like, I'm trying to like not think about what I'm watching, or I'm watching stuff while I'm doing other things. So like, I thought, why not try Twilight?
You know, they have Teledoc now.
Yeah. The worst part about they do. You're right. I maybe should have done that. The worst part about it is halfway through one, I realized I had seen one before and then immediately remembered the entire movie, but still had to finish it.
I feel like you open up a Twilight collection and you're like, I want to kill myself, but I'm not ready to commit. What's going to push me over the edge?
Well, let's be fair to me here. I didn't buy anything. They didn't have to open anything. These are all on Amazon. And then when I went to watch 2, I got halfway through it, I realized I had watched it already, immediately remembered everything again, and then had to watch 2. It was awful. But then by 3, I hadn't seen it. And
so what you're really saying is you rewatched the Twilight series.
Yeah, I rewatched the first 2, and then the last 3 were new to me. They really had to go out of their way to get so much wrong. Like, the acting, like, these are good actors in these movies doing a terrible job.
Why aren't they just fairies? Why didn't they just make it about fairies? That would have made more sense.
But, like, the music is, like, either blatantly fitting the scene or just so off that it, like, there's no music in it that's right. The acting is all terrible. The cuts are bad. Like, there's even the bad vampires, which I usually love because they're usually like the cool guy vampires, were terrible in these. You haven't seen all these, I assume.
I have no intention of ever seeing them.
Yeah, I wouldn't. They pick up speed a little bit in the last one. There's an entire episode of Bella going into labor with a vampire baby.
You should have watched Vampire Dentist. I would have more respect for you.
And I don't know, you might already know this, but did you know that at the end of Bella's pregnancy, Edward has to bite the baby out of her?
Oh, fuck. What the? Why? What? Does he, like, open his mouth? Like, does he unhinge his jaw snake style and just dig in?
No, you don't see it. You just hear, like, vampire, like, sounds like blah, blah, and squishing sounds and stuff while he's, like, biting the baby out of her.
So it's like the Howling 3 marsupials bad?
And then, I imagine worse.
Or Howling 5. Was that Howling 3 or 5? I want to say it was part 3.
I don't know, but the other funny thing in that one, and this wasn't even like a thing. They didn't introduce this until, I think this is all happening in the 4th movie. Mm-hmm. And I think they introduced this in the 3rd movie. So it's not even like a thing, but werewolves can imprint on people, which means they're like if
ducks.
you imprint, you're like obsessed with them, in love with them, protect them for life, right? So this is not a thing until the 3rd movie, and the only reason they introduced it was so Jacob, the vampire or the werewolf guy, could imprint on Bella's baby. It's so weird.
So he's just like cruising for pre-tang?
No. It's not like that. Like I'll give it. It's not creepy. Well, no, it feels a little creepy, but like. It's like the baby comes out. Well, the baby's already out. He sees the baby
in Edward's mouth, and
you have this weird, pretty much no. He's got this like weird like look. Well, I mean, he's always got a dopey look on his face. He's the guy. This is that actor's look. But like he gets this dopey look on his face, and then all of a sudden, like he's like, "Hey, werewolves! They're also under siege by the other werewolves." Forgot it. They're all like locked up in Edward's house, and Jacob goes outside. He's like, "No, I've imprinted on the girl, on the baby. Leave." So that's how the werewolves stop fighting. Hey Google, stop. Sorry, I don't know what that was about, but yeah, like that ends the local. You
just imprinted on your Google.
I did apparently. Oh man, so yeah, I watched all the Twilights, but that's not all.
Oh no!
I don't know if you've heard of these two, but I also watch, and this is all on Amazon if any of you would like to watch it. I also watched every episode of Blood Ties. In fact, I finished that in my car today.
How was that?
Have you seen it?
No.
All right, so Blood Ties is like it was like a Lifetime show.
Okay.
It's filmed and the sound score is basically like softcore porn kind of level.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
It really is. It's kind of like every vampire TV show you've seen that's good, only made bad. So it's like a bad Buffy, a bad Vampire Diaries, a bad Originals. It's basically Forever Night. Hey!
Forever Night is enjoyable.
I love Forever Night too, but it's bad.
It's bad. Listen. It was a precursor to all the other vampire series. So they made their mark in a very... it was one of the first.
Yeah, you're right. It was. But yeah, this is, I mean, it's a Canadian vampire show. There's only the main character is not a vampire. The main character is some chick who gets cursed in the first episode and gets these like, you know what? It's like a 90s show that was released in 2007.
Sort of like Airheads was an 80s movie released in the early 90s.
Yeah, only they didn't do it on purpose. It was like the people who loved that stuff in the 90s, like just released a movie, or released a TV show, but didn't learn anything from it. See, you've got like the pretty vampire boy, only he's not a cop. He's just like some pretty vampire boy. And the girl, the like main character is a girl and she's a private investigator. She got kicked off the force because she's going blind.
Okay. So this is just pretty much an adaptation of a generic like vampire romance novel.
It's exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
There are Blood Ties books. So it's exactly that. Yeah, I watched 22 episodes of that, and they were all not great.
They were all not great.
But that's not all.
Did you just keep watching and thinking, you know what, episode 18, I have a feeling?
It just kept recommending it, and I just kept going.
Well, you've never led me astray, except for the last 17 episodes, but...
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much how it was. I just wanted to see if it had a proper ending. Since it only ran for 2 seasons, it doesn't. It ends on a cliffhanger. Now I'm annoyed. I did look up what happened to all the characters, but I won't bore you with that. I also watched Amazon didn't promote this at all, but they've got an original vampire show too. Okay. And after watching it, I now know why they didn't promote it at all, because it's so bad. It's called Age of the Living Dead.
Oh, God.
It's another vampire apocalypse thing. Like, the vampires all live on the East Coast. The remaining humans live on the West Coast, and they have to donate blood and send it to the vampires so the fight, doesn't start. And in the middle, like, this is seriously like New York is where the vampires live. California is where the humans live. Everything in the middle, they just call no man's land now.
That is unbelievably generic.
Yeah, I mean, the whole show is unbelievably generic. It's the vampires are like your typical like fancy suit or leather jacket guys. All the like vampire minions that attack the humans look like like if the Sopranos was in the Matrix, it would be these guys. It's terrible. They obviously didn't spend a whole lot of money on it. There's like one actor I recognize and I don't even know his name. So yeah, I've watched some good stuff. Like I watched all of Dark. I love that. But yeah, recently, it's just been crap vampire stuff. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Well, just so you know, okay, how do I start this? What I've been watching during the whole everything since our last show is I've been like burning through some K-dramas and Chinese dramas with my roommate.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
I don't know much. That's like a genre I've never really hit on.
You know, you would enjoy them because you like cheesy teen stuff. But there's one that Netflix released, and we were actually watching it as the episodes released because they have this new thing of like releasing only one episode a week, so you feel like you're watching it real time. Yeah. And it's called Mystic Pop-Up Bar, and it was actually just delightful. It was about a woman who ran a pop-up bar, which is like a sort of Korean-type restaurant that you open like in a day. It's a tent with a grill and stuff. Mm-hmm. And she was hundreds of years old because she was a spirit who was cursed to have to like save 500 souls or resolve their issues. And or 5,000 souls. And she'd been stalling too long, so she was pretty much destined to go to hell if she didn't solve the last 10, and her and the guy who runs it with her, and then a young guy who can get people to open up by just touching them, like open up their emotions. And it's a fun little show. We were like so sad when it ended.
Is it like a one season deal, or is there going to be more?
It's a 1 season deal. A lot of K-dramas are like one really long season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we watched like Ashes of Love, which is a really good Chinese one. And another one was like Eternal Youth. And we've just been burning through like kind of supernatural Chinese and Korean dramas.
That's cool. Do you watch them dubbed or subtitled?
Subtitled. They don't really do them dubbed.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there are a few, but they're
I prefer subtitled if I'm actually trying to pay attention, but I'll do dubbed if it's just on in the background.
I'm very specific about the Asian films I will do dubbed, and that would be mid to late 80s Hong Kong comedy films. Cause like there's one called Mr. Vampire that the English dub was a lot funnier than the original Chinese subtitle.
I think you can just stop that. Like any 80s, early 90s movie that came out of Hong Kong should be watched dubbed because it's part of the experience. Like all those, I don't remember if Chow Yun-Fat was involved in the Hong Kong scene or it was just the China scene, but like all of his action movies, definitely need to be watched.
Oh yeah.
Dubbed instead of subtitled. It's so much funnier.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my kind of summer. It was pretty much the summer. Mm-hmm. We didn't do any special events this summer.
Yeah, it's weird. The summer's almost over. Like that's weird.
Yeah. And normally we would do some kind of big thing, but you're also like, you have a camp thing too, which I'm assuming didn't happen.
No. Unfortunately, it did not.
Yeah. Well, now that we've unwound, do you think we should do that next little sequence or we should skip that for now or what?
What sequence?
Our little, our little thing. where, I tell you stuff that happened and...
Oh, God. I gotta make the thing work.
Oh, God.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Is it working? It's not. Oh, God.
You need more reverb. Too much reverb. Okay,
on this day in horror history.
That wasn't enough reverb now.
Oh, okay. Now pump it up a bit.
On this day in horror history.
On July 19th, we saw the first incarnation of La Llorona released in 1935. The Thing with Two Heads was released in 1972. Day of the Dead in 1985. The Frighteners in 1996. And Eight-Legged Freaks in 2002. Not a bad day for horror.
Dude, Arachnophobia. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Arachnophobia is really long.
That was on this day in horror history.
Which has nothing to do with Eight-Legged Freaks.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say is Arachnophobia turned 30, dude.
Oh, wow.
Like, I feel so old. I remember when that was new.
What year was that?
But I also don't, I would have been
90?
12 when that came out.
Oh, yeah, I would have been maybe 1.
How old are you?
I'm 30. 31 next month.
You would have just barely been born.
Yeah.
Because I'm 42.
Oh, gosh, you're so old.
I know. God, I'm so old that people actually have started telling me I'm so old. Like, I was bitching about being old the other day, and, the chick I was talking to was like, yeah, you are, dude. Not even, joking. It was awful.
Oh, gosh, Corey, I'm so sorry. I'm
Sad.
so sorry you're old.
I think it's my beard. I'm aging, other than the fact that I'm a fat dude. I'm aging pretty well, but, there's a whole, my beard is super gray. But I don't want to be that, douchebag that dyes his beard, I'm having trouble focusing. Sorry, my beard has nothing to do with horror. Well, unless you count existential horror, which is kind of how I feel all the time now that I am old.
Do you keep your beard pretty clean?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's never, slimy?
No.
No? Okay.
I mean, only when I drink certain boozes and then I melt into nothing.
Okay. Thank you, finally, for leading into that, segue. Thank you.
Anytime. That's what I'm here for. I'm very talented.
I don't need this.
Are you tired of the same old routine?
My wife, my
Busting your hump and getting nowhere?
This just ain't my day.
The boss, is he always on your back?
Nice, the ass belongs in your chair, not in your lap, which is where you keep trying to put it. You bastard!
The wife. And the kids.
Sorry.
They never listened.
I hate to see him pissing his life away in them goddamn computers.
Do you ever feel like forgetting the whole thing?
You think I got it easy?
Well, now you can.
I'm talking about life!
Drop out and join the ranks of the few.
Oh, God, that's
the filthy.
Oh, that scene is upsetting.
Trash.
Which, that's the point.
I got my own place, a condominium.
Oh, and the scene that...
For free.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. This movie was
oh, my
nice.
gosh.
Okay, the shoplifting scene was hilarious.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Freedom has its price. Yes, there's always a snake.
That guy who ran the liquor shop was the director's film professor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Here's
That makes a lot of sense. Now I understand the glass.
Don't drink my flavor.
I was so happy that Yuppie died.
What's the matter? You can't hold your liquor?
No, that's the writer.
Who?
The yuppie, the businessman who got
ripped on.
splashed. Yeah, that was the writer.
Street trash.
This is mostly screaming
easy
for the
to
listeners.
find.
Everybody is melting on screen.
Yeah,
And
occasionally exploding.
Yeah.
Street trash.
I love how you can tell how cheesy a movie is based on the narrator just repeating the name as the text appears on screen.
Mm-hmm. Street trash.
Street trash.
So, this normally happens when I watch these movies. I sit down, I'm like, oh man, I'm so stoked. They don't make them like this anymore. This is going to be a micro budget, full of heart, made by people who love what they're doing. It's going to have maybe a little bit of a political message about the plight of the homeless. It's going to just be so amazing. And then they play Keep Away with a severed penis. And I realize that I'm not watching anything with any artistic merit that like a normal person would find. You know, obviously I loved it just because like this is sort of a slice of history, a slice of film history that just doesn't happen anymore. Like movies like Street Trash, all the 80s trauma films, like all that stuff. Like people don't even try to make anything that good anymore. Like now when you talk about micro budget and low budget, you talk about like, especially micro budget, you talk about like Asylum and crap like that when it's just them trying to capitalize on bigger movies coming out. It's so sad that we don't get stuff like this anymore.
I feel like such a pretentious gatekeeper when I even try to explain to people why the 80s was so special when it came to bizarre horror films. It's like, well, you just wouldn't get it, man. It was this whole independent scene. And it's just like, no, it really was. And there was a movie about an evil golf course. They did everything.
Yeah. And it's so hard to explain. Like, these guys work tirelessly for months and months, pulling scams and hustling their way to get funding for this film that I'm about to show you, and you hate it because
it's boring and stupid.
Yeah, but has its moments. Like,
so here's for my synopsis that we always love. In the magical world, I'm sorry, what?
I thought Street Trash was my movie.
No. Yours was Slime City.
Oh, well, we're in a lot of trouble.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. I'll make my way through it.
Hey, look at the outline, Corey. In the magical world of Neverland, where little boys never grow up, Cheap Hooch gives them all the ability to fly, sort of. I mean, they melt, but bits of them splash into the air and fly, right? I feel like I should have finished that thought. That's pretty much everything about Street Trash. It doesn't get more complex than that. People drink booze and it melts them, and they're all homeless.
Yeah, and that's what I thought going into it. I realized that like a million years ago, I actually bought Street Trash on DVD from what were those video stores in the mall called back then? Suncoast.
That was not in Texas.
Oh, okay. Well, we had them all over the bigger malls here. So I bought it at Suncoast, put it in for 5 minutes, and hated it so much that I took it back, and I had to like lie to Suncoast because they didn't return movies. I had to tell them it was damaged and wouldn't play just so I could get my money back. I mean, there's two things there. Number one, like
you had them throw Street Trash in the trash.
I know, but I don't even know why. Like, I want to blame it on like I was a cool punk kid back then. So like I felt like I was above it, but I don't think that was it. For some reason, it just didn't click with me then. But now that I've gone back and watched it, it's exactly the type of movie I loved back then.
Yeah, that is weird to me that you would want to get rid of that.
Maybe I was just in a bad mood. I don't know. I don't remember.
I talked briefly to Mom about this movie once. I was like, have you ever seen Street Trash? And she was like, oh yeah. When I was pregnant with you, I tried to watch it and I got horribly sick and I can never look at that movie. So, nice little anecdote about my mother.
I can understand that.
Yeah, it must have been, just watching part of it must have done something weird to me in the womb, maybe. I don't know.
Could be.
Because I love these bizarre films. Mm-hmm. So the director, Jim M. Moreau, he's known mostly for cinematography and camera work, and I wasn't actually surprised about that, because if you're just looking at the camera work in this film, the Steadicam stuff is pretty good. I mean, the way the camera
there were some really cool shots, like when you're like following point of view through doors and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like, well, and even the horrible like bum rape scene, like there's some great shots between those foggy cars, which lends to one reason it's such a creepy scene, other than the fact that a bunch of homeless people grab a woman, rape her, and murder her. Yeah,
and then she gets raped again the next morning when she's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
By a guy not even involved in the homeless people, just some, like, the dude who owns that whole junkyard. That whole junkyard plot was weird.
Yeah. Well, the director, Jim Moreau, he actually did cinematography for movies like Terminator 2 and The Abyss and True Lies. So this was like kind of his first big picture directing, but he's done a lot of camera work in some pretty big things. Fun fact, his dad owned the junkyard that they filmed in.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And the original short film was produced was his thesis entry for film school, which was unappreciated.
I can imagine. Mm-hmm. I scanned it real quick, though. The short's not bad. You were right, though. It's basically the movie again, just shorter. But
the writer, Roy Frumkes, was the businessman who had his face melted. I mentioned that during the trailer. And he also wrote the Substitute film series.
Time out. I was right. You did claim Slime City.
Did I?
I have you quoted right here. Check it out.
Well, it's too late now, my friend. I have so many notes.
Oh, I honestly don't care.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy.
Ah, I see. Okay. Well, we both watched both of the movies, so.
Yeah. And I would have been winging whichever one we did, let's be honest here, so that's fine.
But since you did claim initially, since you did claim Street Trash, I guess you can quote this review I'm about to paste here for you. On his NBR profile, the writer said this, and I'm going to need you to do an effective voice here, okay?
What kind of voice do you want?
Just a voice that you feel channels the spirit of the film, of the sort of sick monster who could write it.
Hold on. I need to get to the chat. I think this is like an old New York thing. Mm-hmm. I wrote it to democratically offend every group on the planet. And as a result, the youth market embraced it as a renegade work, and it played midnight shows.
You know, I feel like you truly do channel the spirit of every critic or writer we've ever talked about on this podcast. Let me just say.
It's a superpower. What can I say?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But once you hear that, it kind of makes sense why they had the dick throwing scene.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, the goal is obviously there. Like, everything offensive you can think of is pretty much in this movie. Nobody in this movie is a decent person. The closest thing we get to a decent person is that girl who works at the junkyard, but she's still obviously dude's brother is underage and she's all over him. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. She's definitely not a mother figure really for him.
No. So yeah, if he wanted to offend, he certainly probably pulled that, especially back then.
Mm-hmm. The actor Pat Ryan, who played the sleazy junkyard owner, Frank, was the pizzeria manager in Mannequin, which is a movie I've watched too many times. In fact, just this past weekend, I made my boyfriend watch it with me because he'd never seen it.
Oh, nice. Did he like it?
He pretended he liked it. I'm not sure if he liked it.
Oh, come on. Mannequin's a great movie.
Yeah, we double featured that with Earth Girls Are Easy, so.
But you can't get away with a character like Hollywood anymore.
Hollywood was great, though. Hollywood Montrose.
Yeah.
You can't
actually, no, you know what? You can't still do Hollywood, because Hollywood wasn't really he worked. I'd have to go back and watch Mannequin again, but Hollywood, I don't think it's as offensive as I'm remembering. I remember him being pretty empowered for the time.
I was so sad when that actor passed away.
Oh, I didn't know he did. That sucks.
Oh, yeah, he passed away a couple years ago. He was an acting professor, actually, I think, in the end. And also very straight. He had kids.
Oh,
Hollywood Montrose
people can have kids too.
What? No, he was straight.
Yeah, they can have kids too, Maddie. They make a pill.
Oh my God. Anyway, back to Pat Ryan, the fat guy. He was in this movie called Eat and Run. Have you ever seen it? So it's a ridiculous low budget movie, kind of like this one, where he plays this kind of silent, slobbering fat alien who will just eat people. And then he ends up suing for being arrested or something because because he's being treated like a monster when he's just following his own nature. And it's just such a ridiculous movie, but there's something about it that's just absolutely hilarious.
What's it called again?
It's called Eat and Run.
Eat and Run. That sounds like something I need to see.
He was also in The Toxic Avenger and Class of Nukem High and some minor roles.
Yes.
Yeah, but the man, he died kind of fairly young. I want to say he was in maybe his 40s or 50s, which, given his size, it's not surprising. Mm-hmm. But you can tell he was probably, a nice guy to work with, someone who put everything into the role, even if he wasn't a fantastic actor.
I enjoyed him on screen.
Yeah, he's probably one of the better actors in a cast full of terrible actors.
Oh, God, that's very true.
What was the point of the Vietnam guy? To offend veterans?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he was just there to offend veterans.
Bronson.
And then, cause then you've also got, like, after you're done offending veterans, you can have the whole, like, weird Vietnamese ghoul dream sequence and offend all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It's funny. It's an offensive and inoffensive movie because by today's standards, if you're trying to be offensive, this is like vanilla, you know, French vanilla.
Yeah, very true. But this was before. Well, no, I mean, there were. Yeah, you're right.
It's no Serbian film.
No, it's no Serbian film. And I'm trying to think. I immediately go to Lucker the Necrophagous and Necromantic when we start thinking of offensive movies from that time period. I think those both might be early 90s, not quite 80s, but it's still lumped into the same 16 millimeter sort of thing. But even Necromantic and Lucker aren't nearly as disgusting, horrible, offensive as a Serbian film.
But I would still say Necromantic and Necrophagia were more underground than Street Trash might have been. You know?
Oh, for sure.
Like, I could see people, like, getting a VHS tape of Street Trash easily. You'd have to you'd have to know your stuff to get copies of those movies when they came out in America.
Oh, yeah. Back then, like, Necromantic was my holy grail on VHS when I was younger. And then by the time I had the money to buy a VHS copy, they started releasing it on DVD, so I didn't even bother.
Gosh, young kids.
And then I lost interest.
Young kids today will never know the joys of hunting for movies like that back in the day.
Oh man, that was my like that and music. Like I used to love to spend hours in like video and record stores just looking through like all the like bins of crap just to find that one jewel that I had been looking for forever. Yeah,
I think the closest I've come to that kind of feeling is finding a copy of a Pretty Poison CD at a library book sale.
Nice.
So James Lorenz is probably the most notable actor in Street Trash. Most of the cast were kind of one-off actors. They did this and nothing else. I mean, you got like the guy who played the Vietnam vet Bronson, Vic Nato, who did a lot of TV work and people here and there. But really, James Lorenz is the one who's more recognizable because he played Jeffrey in Frankenhooker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now he's credited, he's credited as doorman in this film on IMDb. And on the credits, but his role was actually extended only because he was funny, and he did a lot of riffing with Tony Darrow, who was the restaurant owner on set. Those two characters weren't supposed to have huge bits in the film at all, but Murrow let them go on for like 2 reels just doing banter and riffing back and forth, and he was like, all right, I gotta give these two more scenes. And that's why you get the funny scene at the end of the film, which I think is one of the best
that's
scenes.
Such a great scene, yeah. And that weird version of, like, sort of My Way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was funny.
You know, the makeup artist, Jennifer Aspinall, was like 18 when she worked on this. And she'd worked on Toxic Avenger and Spookies and did a lot of TV work. But more recently, she's done stuff like Ford vs. Ferrari, Westworld, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And the contrast between, like, big pictures like that and Street Trash, it's hard to make the connection.
Well, see, that's how that worked back then. Like, you work your ass off in the indies and in the low budgets, and eventually you get to go somewhere cool or somewhere where you can actually, like, work with a budget. I don't want to say cool because it's all cool. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how it worked then. It just doesn't seem to be the same anymore.
Not really. But, you know, I think Netflix is doing a lot of great stuff for the cinema field and even Amazon on some level. I think you're seeing a lot more stuff on those venues from like smaller, lesser known professionals than we see in movie theaters anymore, especially now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely now. I just started. This is completely off subject, but I just watched the first episode of Cursed earlier today in my car. Now, when I say I'm watching this stuff on my car, it's in a parking lot. I'm not driving when I'm doing it. It's in between orders for my job.
Do you remember when cars were coming out with DVD players in them for a while?
Yeah. My friend was all excited with his high-tech, like, flip-up DVD player. But yeah, I watched the first episode of Cursed on Netflix thinking it was just going to be complete crap. It's actually pretty good. I'm excited to watch more.
I saw a trailer. It looked decent.
Yeah, it's better than the trailers, I thought. Yeah, I thought it was cool. And it's nice to see that the suicide chick from 13 Reasons Why actually gets a role instead of being the suicide chick from 13 Reasons Why. She's good. She deserves it.
Would you like to know some of the technical facts about the penises in this movie?
I know that there were 3 of them.
Okay, I'm glad. Okay. Did you know there was one of them that was larger than the other 2, so it could be caught properly on camera when it was flying through the air?
Wait, let me see if I the pecker, the porker, and the packer. Right?
This is such a movie made by men.
It really, really is.
And I don't know if there's another movie that has such technical work applied to a penis sequence as this one that wasn't animated.
Beyond Reanimator, wasn't that all the rat versus the penis scene in that? Wasn't it? I can't believe we're having this conversation. I think that was practical effects. It's been so long since I've seen it.
Well, but how many penises were
Oh, that I'm not sure of the post-production penis count in Beyond Reanimator. I'm sorry, I'm woefully unprepared for this today.
I don't want to look that up and give Google those analytics. God knows what they'd recommend for me in my search after that.
But I imagine any time you film a severed penis, you need more than one. It's like the Dukes of Hazzard car. Like, you're going to wreck one, you need a backup.
Do you seek advice from other professionals who've worked on penis sequences in films?
I would, even for no other reason than it would be funny.
The melting sequences in this film are really fun, gross, ridiculous, colorful. It's some of the best stuff in the movie is the melting.
Yeah, my only complaint about that is I expected a lot more. Like, and maybe that's why I returned it when I was a kid. Like, I was like, oh, this is dumb. This is just going to be a movie about people melting. I didn't realize there was going to be so much more involved. You know, I thought it was just going to be like, people drink this, people melt. Mm-hmm. Nope, it's much worse.
It's worse.
In a good way.
Yeah. In a good way, yeah. I mean, honestly, the nudity is fairly minor compared to just a lot of movies that come to mind. Mm.
Yeah, I think it's the only the one scene.
Yeah. No, there's a special documentary attached to the DVD called Meltdown Memoirs. I was unfortunately not able to get it in time, but if you want to know a lot more about the film and hear some good commentary, that's available.
Why'd you get the DVD instead of the Blu-ray?
I didn't. I watched it on a certain streaming service without paying.
Oh, okay. I rented it from Synapse Films, I think. I didn't know that they did video rentals, but...
Oh.
Yeah, I think it was like $3. And I got Slime City on Google Play.
I got Slime City on YouTube. I paid for it, God, I paid for Slime City.
It wouldn't let me pay for it on YouTube. I don't know why. I had to watch it through Google Play.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, the only setting they really paid much money for in this film was the supermarket scene, because they had to pay $500 to shoot on that location. But it was such a funny scene that was worth the $500.
Yeah, it's my favorite scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just love that guy skipping around stuffing food in his pants.
Yeah, and then he plays the race card on this old lady, and then the guy who comes to deal with him is African American, and he's like, I'm not putting up with your shit. You've got sausage in your pants.
Oh, it was so funny.
Yeah, it was a funny exchange.
And he survived the film too, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he almost dies in the that sort of weird chase scene, but he doesn't end up drinking the Viper or Venom. Viper.
Viper something. It had another word to it. It was more than just Viper, but yeah, pretty much Viper.
Venom was the stuff that they called what the vampires secrete in Twilight. They call it their venom.
It's bled into you, Corey. It's part
I can't help it. I've done it. I can't undo it. Certain belts can't be unrung.
And except for the creepy bum rape murder scene, that pretty much treated attempted rape as a gag, following it up with some necrophilia. And what was it with the music during that sequence?
I don't know.
I don't know. It just convinced me that maybe all these guys needed to drink Viper.
Oh, I think that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody in this movie is a good person. They're all like differing levels of terrible.
I mean, have you ever gotten so blitzed, so drunk that you mistook a random homeless guy for your boyfriend or girlfriend and then let them take you to a junkyard for a quickie?
Yeah, like once a week.
Oh, well,
You'd be surprised how many random homeless dudes I've slept with, Manny. All because
I am going
my
to
Italian
soundbite that for our next intro.
Sounds fair.
It's just the music is so weird in this film sometimes. It doesn't even, like, tonally fit with the scenes, and it's... I know that had to be on purpose. Yeah, sometimes.
Like, the weird cartoony music worked really well for Penis Keep Away and the shoplifting scene. But yeah, it's just odd.
The whole film is odd.
Sometimes it feels like it's trying to signal something as funny when it's really just horrible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was weird.
Most of the story just doesn't feel like one story. It just seems like weird vignettes tied together with the occasional melting victim.
Yeah, kind of like Dream a Little Dream.
Yeah, but I don't remember anyone melting in Dream a Little Dream.
No, there's not a lot of melting in that one.
Yeah. And I have nothing else to say about Street Trash. I'm surprised I had so much to say about it.
Well, I probably have even less for Slime City because you messed me up, Maddie.
Well, I'm sorry, Corey.
Let me just
Street
check
Trash
my notes
called out to me.
What's that?
Street Trash was just calling out to me.
It's all good.
Of course I'm going to pick the one with the better production values.
Oh, I remember something. This is just a question. In the beginning chase scene, when that guy's just stealing stuff, why is everybody in that hotel or in that apartment building boning in the middle of the day? Like, everybody that comes out of there is like in some state of undress. They were obviously just like that was just like a sex hotel, I guess, right?
I think 2 of them were friends with the director and just down for a funny scene, if that helps. Okay. He was like, "You want to get naked?" They were like, "Yeah, sure. We're friends."
Yeah, that makes a little sense.
All right. Well, then I guess it's time for the trailer of Slime City.
What do you think?
Well, it couldn't be any worse than the last one.
Welcome to Slime City, home to the derelicts of society.
I need some money.
And land of murdering, melting monsters.
It's sad that we've watched worse movies than this.
And junkies. When Alex moves into an apartment haunted by the occult, he is seduced by spirits and slowly becomes a hideous, slime-spattered demon.
Alex, you're hurting me.
No.
Oh, I hated her. I hated him, too.
Yeah,
I hated everybody.
Yeah.
Except for the poet. He was cool.
Well, you know, she was the same actress who played the one in the punk outfit.
Alex's girlfriend
Oh, no, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, I can see that.
And escape the bloodthirsty supernatural forces around him. But the only way out of Slime City is for the innocent to confront the putrid powers of darkness.
Shouldn't have slept with her boyfriend.
God, that scene was great at the end.
Oh, yeah, that was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Go back!
The 80s Grindhouse classic by the Doctor of Gore, Gregory Lamberson, is back. And digitally remastered in all its repugnant glory.
Oh, calm down, Gregory Lamberson. You haven't done that much.
Take a trip to Slime
Seriously, it's not even that
for the most
repugnant.
gruesome and disgusting climax you will ever see.
I think most people would be grossed out about this.
Just because they're wasting all that sausage?
Yeah. It's a movie that I used to look back at and think, you know, they just don't have enough green and yellow stuff in gore anymore.
They really don't.
Yeah, it's all red now. There's nothing really gross about red. Blood is boring.
Oh, Greg Lamberson directed Johnny Gruesome. That's a movie I'll never watch again.
Oh, I feel like I've seen... Is that the guy who used to do the drag racing?
No, the metal guy. Comes back as like a super strong zombie. He did Killer Rack, which I'll never watch.
I'm assuming those are boobies.
Yeah. He directed the sequel to the remake of his own movie, unless this is a sequel to his own movie.
No, the Slime City sequel that we saw a trailer of and decided not to watch. Yeah, that was him.
The remake. Or the sequel, because there's both. He's a producer on the remake, and then after the remake came Slime City Massacre, the sequel.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know. Someone compared him to Henenlotter, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? Henenlotter is so much more talented.
Yeah. Yeah, I have very little interest in most of this guy's stuff.
Yeah, this is not even remotely close to, like, brain damage.
No, definitely not. All right, so everything I said about Street Trash in the beginning of this fits here, only it wasn't a scene like Severed Penis Keep Away that changed my mind about the artistic merit of this movie. I don't even know how to word. I don't even need to worry about wording it. This movie sucks except for the end, but the end is so good that it kind of makes up for the movie sucking. This is exactly why I love some movies. Like, the entire thing is boring, slow, and terrible. And then the last 10 minutes, it like ups the ridiculousness to like 11. And then all of a sudden I love it.
Well, I only actually ever saw this movie or knew about it because years ago when I was like 13 or 14, I was trying to find the name of a movie that was just on the tip of my tongue. And I was like, okay, melting guy, explosions, weird clothes. And I ended up with Slime City, and I watched it, and I'm like, well, that's not the movie I was looking for. I was actually looking for My Demon Lover. So everything always goes back to Scott Valentine.
It really does. I hope he's doing okay in these diseased times.
I really do. He's a national treasure.
He really is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Slime City. I don't remember anybody's names. I don't care what anybody's names are. It's about a dude in college who moves into this very convoluted witchcraft plot in an apartment building, and his girlfriend doesn't want to sleep with him, which should be okay because girls don't have to sleep with you, but he's mad about it. So that's a problem because he's a terrible person.
Okay. Well, you say convoluted, but I actually thought the concept was probably the coolest thing about this movie.
Well, no, because they touch on stuff that like, so he moves into this building and everybody's spirits from, okay, so there's this witchcraft guy who made a whole bunch of wine and a whole bunch of what they call yogurt.
Mm-hmm. Himalayan yogurt,
right. So you move into this place, you eat some of the Himalayan yogurt, you drink some of the wine, and you get possessed by whoever is in the yogurt.
Yeah, they condense their evil souls into the slime and the wine.
All right, now that I'm saying it, it's not quite as convoluted. But my only question is, the poet. Mm-hmm. They talk about, like, they make a point to talk about how the poet's confused in his new life and how he doesn't totally remember who he is. But that doesn't really come out at all. You know what I mean?
Well, they wanted to focus more on the TNA from the actress.
I guess.
Which, oh my God, that wig.
Yeah, that wig's giant.
Oh my God, that was a spirit store wig.
Mm-hmm. So she bugged me too. Mm-hmm. So she died in the 50s as obviously she's like this like crazy Satan magician chick. Mm-hmm. So she'd be a little more forward thinking than most of the 50s housewives. But she comes back and like, does this like spirit yogurt also make you decide to be cool when you come back? Cause she decides she's going to be this crazy leather dominatrix chick. The poet guy is basically Peter Murphy from Bauhaus. You know what I mean? Like, they come out cooler, even though you feel like they would have brought along the sensibilities from the 50s because that's all they knew. And then you've got people
Corey,
like
they're Satanists.
Yeah, but Satanists are allowed to have 50s sensibilities.
I feel like
Satanists
they didn't.
Can be whatever they want to be.
Do you think a Satanist who condensed their soul into slime and wine would have like a Martha Stewart style personality?
Maybe. Who am I to judge?
Today I'm going to show you a rather delightful way to decorate the jar you're going to condense your essence into for the
Have
future.
You watched The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina?
I have not.
There's some 50s sensibilities going on in there, and they love Satan. Hell, I think he's probably an alright dude, and I'm a bad example.
Yeah. I'm going to disagree as a Catholic and a human being, but go on.
So I don't know. He moves in, he starts eating this special yogurt, and he starts getting possessed by the like head dude that like the guy who ran the cult. Mm-hmm. But he also starts like going all melty face, and when he goes all melty face, he's got to go out and murder somebody, and then he comes home and stops being all melty face. Mm-hmm. Or did the wine stop him from being melty face?
No, it's killing someone makes him stop being melty face.
Okay, so I got that right. So all this stuff's happening. He cheats on his girlfriend because he's a terrible person.
Yeah, I mean, he only moved closer to her so they could potentially bang.
Right, that's exactly it. She finally gives in a scene and is like, I'm going to move in with him. And by that time, he's already half possessed. He's like, no, you're not. I don't want you there, blah, blah, blah. Finicky bastard.
Have you ever seen a protagonist who so very obviously hated his best friend?
Yeah, seriously, that good dude just got treated like shit the whole movie, and then he got killed.
Yeah, like, what the hell? Like, even every time he was in the room with him and his friend was talking, he'd just be rolling his eyes and miserable to be in the room with him.
Mm-hmm. It feels like what it must be like to be on Howard Stern's show, to be friends with that guy.
Oh my God, yeah.
But yeah, so that's basically the plot. Like, finally you get to the end where you get some kind of payoff, and the payoff is the girlfriend figures everything out, and boyfriend's like 100% possessed pretty much. He attacks her, and you just get this 10-15 minute scene of her chopping pieces off of him and gutting him, and like actual sausage, like kibasi falling out, like mixed with his green slime, and
that's
like
just great.
Yeah, like wiggling body parts, and it's so ridiculous and gory and fun. Like, I love it. At one point, his brain comes out and starts like slugging across the floor.
And then it sees her and tries to get away from her.
And she just hacks that thing up. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure that was like a gelatin mold or something, but it really looked good when she hacked that brain to nothing.
Well, you know, the makeup artist, Scott Coulter, worked on over 100 movies after this. He did like Demon Knight, Pet Sematary 2, Cellar Dweller, and Class of Nukem High, which I'm beginning to wonder if you like play 6 degrees of Nukem High, everything's going to lead back to it.
Probably, because you can get to, as long as you can get to James Gunn, you can get to anybody else in Hollywood at this point because of his cast in the second Guardians of the Galaxy, and James Gunn was a trauma guy.
So you feel like James Gunn is above Kevin Bacon?
I think James Gunn can probably... No, I think that they're both probably pretty helpful in the 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game.
Oh, there should be a James Gunn versus Kevin Bacon movie.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. James Gunn's like a little dude, and I bet Kevin Bacon's like punched more people than James Gunn.
I don't know. James Gunn is feisty.
They could have a dance-off.
Oh, that would be great. Who would get more footloose?
I mean, probably the guy that was in Footloose.
So what if you combine the green pudding from this movie with the stuff? Or should there be like a Slime City Satanist versus the Stuff collaboration movie, like Dracula versus Frankenstein style?
Well, that's a good question. And I have a lot of questions like that too. Like, what happens if you drink blue slime with green slime? Do you get possessed by parts of the other person?
Do you get multiple personality disorder?
Yeah, what happens when you run out of slime, which they were going to do? Does the body take over? Because it's sort of implied that, like, if you stop eating the slime, the spirit kind of stops being a thing, but you're addicted to the slime, so you keep eating it. So eventually, they even say that they're going to run out of this stuff. Does that mean it's just not like it's over? Or, like, it was... Maybe I'm reading into it too much.
Well, maybe if, like, once you consume it all, like, the spirit just takes over yours and your spirit goes away.
Yeah, I thought that too, but then there's a scene where he dumps out a whole bunch of it, and it doesn't seem to bother anybody because it's never brought up again.
Huh. Well, I don't know. It's a very low budget, probably 2-week collaboration. I couldn't even find how long the production took, but I can't imagine it took too long.
Yeah. I didn't even look because you stole street trash from me.
Well, I apologize.
I didn't find out till tonight.
There's not a lot to say about Slime City anyway.
Mm-mm.
Does she ever
because there doesn't seem to be a whole lot. Like, I feel like this might, like, I didn't even look to see if there's a Blu-ray with a whole bunch of extras, but I feel like this is exactly the type of movie that would have a Blu-ray with a whole bunch of extras.
Well, it was one of those underground films that was, like, released very limited in a few theaters and then on VHS in the same day.
Right.
Like, it was really popular in that, like, low-budget New York scene of people who loved bad movies while they got drunk in movie theaters and shouted at the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Does the girlfriend ever comment on his graying hair? Have you noticed his hair just goes gray throughout the movie?
I did notice that. Nobody says anything about that in the movie.
Yeah, that would really concern me.
Yeah, me too.
And also, like, if you're moving into an apartment and you have really weird neighbors, why would you accept an invitation to dinner? And why would you eat weird colored pudding for dinner at their place? I'd be rude enough to say, you know what, I don't think this is going to work for me. And I wouldn't trust homemade hooch from an old apothecary guy.
I feel like I probably would have
eaten
and drank everything. Yeah, just because like I would have felt bad that this weird little lonely dude wanted to like make somebody dinner because like I would have completely gotten the wrong idea and be like, oh, this guy's nice.
I guess the separation here is that like if I was in that situation, I would think, okay, this is going to be date rape.
Yeah. Oh no, there's definitely a gender line here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So women wouldn't drink the slime.
Some men would. Dumb men would. I would. I don't know, dude. That's about all I got for this film. I do think people should watch it, even if it is only for the like. Well, I mean, you got to watch the whole thing for the end to pay off, but like the last 15 minutes or so really make it worth it.
Yeah, by that time I was into the plot. I was like, okay, I think the slime concept, even though it's stupid, it's really unique. I've never seen another movie that had said, okay, Satanists can like put their essence into something in a cult ritual when they kill themselves, and if someone else consumes it, they'll take over their bodies. That was new.
Yeah, that is a fairly original plot.
Mm-hmm. And I like that this movie is just a nice little time capsule of the time and the scene. They don't make them like that anymore. I'm not saying they should.
No, that's exactly a lot of the reason I love Street Trash too, is both of these movies are essentially like time capsules of like old urban cinema that just, again, can't be made anymore because corporate greed has taken over our beloved B film.
Yeah, but we'll find a way. We always do. We're parasites, us horror lovers.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's a symbiotic parasite thing.
Yeah, we've been around since 1930. We're not leaving.
No, that's true.
So if you want to find our blog, read our articles, you can find us at hallow-holic.blogspot.com or hallow-holic.wordpress.com.
If you want to take a break from listening to our commander-in-chief yell at the clouds on Twitter, you can find us at Nowhere23 or by searching Hallow-Holics.
Old man yells at clouds. You can also email us at hallowholics@outlook.com if you'd like to give us a brief or very extended essay on why somehow Slime City exemplifies the deep, complex situation of our current socio-economic issues.
You're reading that if somebody sends it. I'm not. I mean, just kidding. We'll read everything you send us because we love our fans, if we have any out there. Oh, man, that dude's back. He's been gone for months, Maddie, and all of a sudden we fire up the show again, and here he is.
Well, you know, you can't deny that he's very punctual when it comes to the show.
Yeah, but he's not wearing a mask, and he's threatening to, like, come closer to me. He's a good 6 to 10 feet away right now, so I'm not super worried. But he says that he's going to give me a hug and start coughing if I don't tell you to go to podpedia.org and ask you to search for our portal, which is HHA.
Okay, well, just in case, you better prepare a bleach enema for yourself.
Oh, God. You're right. No!
Next episode, guys, we're going to be talking about sequels that we think did it better than the original.
Featuring House 2 and Fright Night 2.
Exactly. Some of you may disagree, but
we don't care.
Good night, guys.
Laters.